I get some questions about what mods I use for setting up things in my save file or for gameplay reasons, and today I just wanted to go over all the mods I use, put it in one quick and easy place so that you can kind of quickly reference everything. And I've done this by making a resources page on my Tumblr, so this is going to be linked below, so if you do want to download anything I talk about in this video, it's in the description. Something to note is that everything on this list is updated and put on here as of the day that I'm recording this, March 27th, 2025. So if you are watching this at a later date, or you click on any of these links at a later date, you might want to check and just make sure that there isn't a more updated version of the mod available. In editing here also, to remind you all to please use your noggin when you're downloading mods. Don't click on any weird links. Use an ad blocker. A lot of these pages that I'm about to show you, I don't have an ad blocker because I'm using a browser that I don't normally use in order to record my screen capture. Just be smart with it. Don't click random things that say download that aren't the actual download. Like, if you are unsure about any of this, maybe you should not be downloading mods. You don't want a virus on your computer, okay? I feel silly even making this disclaimer because it feels so obvious to me, but I don't know. Maybe there's children watching. If you are a child watching, why are you watching? You shouldn't be watching. Go to school or something. I don't know. So that's just something to keep in mind. And we're going to go over what each of these mods do, and then I'm going to show you a few of those in action in game. I'm not going to show you all of them. There is kind of a lot here. Starting at the top with my management mods, I have MC Command Center, and MC Command Center's page looks like this. All these tabs are everything that we have to get through, so don't worry, we'll be able to get through. And MC Command Center is basically just like a big controller for the entire game. So if you need to cheat skills, you can do that through MC Command Center. Careers, you can summon Sims, you can add Sims to households, you can change their outfits between different outfits without having them like change. You can, set population stuff. You can do all kinds of things with MC Command Center. Like, there's so much that you can do in this mod that I don't even know the extent of all of it. Like, I think you can speed up like the amount of time homework takes and a bunch of other stuff. So it's really practical for a ton of reasons. It also, I think, this version has risky woohoo in it, so if that's something that you want, which I always want risky woohoo in my game, I believe MC Command Center has that. But like I said, the mod has so much that it's like kind of hard to know what is in the mod. So I'm just going to load in to this household here and just kind of show off a little bit of MC Command Center, just so you get a vibe for like what kinds of things this mod is able to do. So right when you load in to any save, this little thing will pop up, welcome to MC Command Center. It'll tell you the version, and it'll tell you all the different modules loaded. So if you don't want a specific module, I'm pretty sure that you can delete anything that you don't want other than like the base packages that you like need in your game. I just put all of them in my game because I figure, may as well. I can show you with Haze. So if I click on Haze and I go MC Command Center, it tells you a bunch of info about the sim. So if you're trying to figure out if a sim is pregnant or their age, and you kind of can't tell if they're married to anybody, have kids, where they live, their career, you can kind of do that as the player. I mainly use this to like cheat things. So if I'm like needing to set something up in my save file, I'll go to MC Command Center and I'll go, MC cheats, and I'll go to cheat sim info, skill cheats, and then set skills to level is mainly what I use. And then I'll pick out a skill that I think, that sim would have, or that sim, would be pretty talented in, let's say writing. And then I can type in, 1 to 10, whatever level of skill that sim would have. So I could set this to, level 3. And then it just gives Haze this writing skill. So now I have cheated in my university gameplay. As I said, this does so much. Like, you can cheat relationships between other sims, you can start pregnancies and start stuff like that. So I could immediately just like start an alien pregnancy. I won't be doing that. I'm not trying to ruin the save file. And then there's also some like MC cleaner stuff. So if your game struggles with lag or whatever, this can be used to sell your inventory or other stuff like that. I honestly don't really know. Like, the population settings kind of do the same thing, where it'll kind of disperse your Sims to different households. If for whatever reason you're a Sims 3 player coming to The Sims 4 and you're like, what mods do I get? And you're on this video, this mod is like the RAAS mod equivalent to The Sims 4. Also, sorry if it's weird I spelled that out. I just don't know how to say it. NRAS is how I would say that. So there you go. That's what MC Command Center does. UI cheats is kind of a similar thing where you can just click to cheat stuff. So if your Sims have a bad mood bar or if they are low in a skill, you can literally just click higher in the skill or higher in the mood bar and it'll automatically fill up. This mod breaks like a lot, so I don't even think I have it currently in my game, but you get a vibe for it. Like if I go over here and I click bladder full, it would automatically fill up. Or you could go and you could change the time or the day or, you know, promote Sims in a career. It's super useful, but like I said, it breaks a lot, like pretty much with every update. So I tend to have this in my game like half the time, but it's super duper useful, makes things go a lot quicker for setting up lore and stuff like that. And this is by Weirbasu, and the link goes direct to the Patreon, so if you want to download that, it will be linked there. There's a ton of information here, but if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you get to put it in here. Like I said, mod breaks a lot, so just keep an eye out for the newest update of this. Same with MC Command Center, you should be updating this one fairly frequently, but UI cheats will kind of like make things get real wonky. So if you have this mod in your game and things are getting wonky, it's probably UI cheats. Next on the list, we have build stuff. So better build by and tool, obviously. I'm kind of gonna bundle these together because to me, they're kind of one and the same. So better build by just, it organizes stuff a lot better, in my opinion. So if you have a lot of debug items that you use all the time or free build items you use all the time, this kind of sorts all of that. So it's a little bit more organized and easier to find. And if you search for stuff, it's more likely to kind of come up with the right thing. Whereas in the base game, normally things just aren't really labeled in a super effective way. You get a UI wheel for the lights, so if you want to change the lighting while you're in build mode, you can do that, which is really awesome, and I use it like all the time. It also can generate a CC report, which is going to be so useful for me when I need to kind of accumulate all of the CC that I'm going to be using for my save file and make like a big list of everything. So if you go into the game and you enter build mode, there will be this better build by toggle down here. And if you click on it, it shows all your objects. So supposedly you should be able to like turn on and off cheats just like with these little clicks. I find the move objects one to be really hit or miss personally. Like I find that on occasion it won't actually work and I still have to do the cheat, which it says that you should not do. So I don't fully know what's going on there, but deletion protection, super helpful to me when I'm doing something really weird, like with the roof especially, or if I'm kind of moving rooms around and I'm not wanting anything to get deleted. It's really nice because you can just guarantee that nothing's going to get deleted. So if I move this over here, it's going to subtract some money, but actually everything that's originally on the slot is still going to be on the slot. Nothing gets deleted, nothing gets moved, and I can put it back and it's the same thing where it just literally the only difference in money was the walls, because sometimes without deletion protection on, theoretically if I have it off, it'll kind of just like automatically start to delete other objects in my game. It's not going to do it right now, but I promise that it happens. So to go back to here and to show you tool a little bit, tool is another kind of pea in the pod when it comes to better build by. This allows you to just move things however you want. It stands for take objects off a lot. So say I'm in the game and I really wanted to take this fireplace all the way over to this tree for some reason. If I hit Shift T, it's going to pull up the tool extension. And the cool thing about this too is you can click and drag it anywhere you want on your screen. I do have some problems clicking and dragging this. Like it takes like, I don't know, you have to click like a very specific area, it feels like. But anyways, if you just click on an item, it goes like this transparent green. And you can literally like zoom around and just click. And then you can be like, okay, putting it there. And you can even do it by like more kind of particular ways you can rotate stuff in a matter of degrees. This takes some getting used to, but for any type of building off the lot, yeah, this is the go-to. So I literally have a fireplace now that they can use just out in the middle of the street. Like, it's totally usable. You see a lot of people use this mod throughout all of their games, but especially if they have like a save file and they're kind of redoing some of the lore and adding more activities to the world around your sim. You'll see them do this a lot, but yeah, fully functional. On to gameplay. I have like all of Lumpino's mods. You'll notice that there is a long list here of like pretty much almost every mod Lumpino has ever made. I love Lumpino. I think that I would not play The Sims without Lumpino's mods, genuinely. I'm kind of group all of these together because in my gameplay, these are kind of all one thing to me, but I have the relationships and pregnancy overhaul. I have some more management mods. So these 3 mods listed right under it are kind of just required mods for the other mods to work. Not all of them. So definitely like read the pages that I link to. Please don't just go off what I'm saying. Like, please read the instructions for each mod. I have an LGBTQIA overhaul, talents and weaknesses, which gives your Sims things that they're naturally good at and naturally not so good at. I have a thing that lets teens be on Cupid's corner. I have curious inquiries, which just gives you more options for asking other Sims about, you know, their life, who they are, what they do with their life. I've got a science baby tweak, which just basically gives you the option between, you know, an instant adoption or starting a pregnancy. First impressions, which gives Sims first impressions through sentiments of one another. So they'll get a little pop-up that'll be like, I think this sim is annoying, or I think this sim is pretentious. I love first impressions. I think it's like one of my favorite of these mods, especially for it to be like this quote like smaller mod. I think it's just such a fun open love life, allows you to do more polyamory type stuff. I know that a lot of these sound like that they've really been added with the new romance pack, Love Struck, but Lumpino did it first, guys. Like, the Sims team honestly just copied Lumpino with a lot of the stuff they did. So if you want the OG stuff, Lumpino's got you. So it is a lot of that same stuff, but I think it's more fleshed out and more well-rounded, you know, things like STIs, things like, you know, unplanned pregnancy, things like romantic boundaries, things like open relationships. It was all in Lumpino's mods first. Surely also other people did mods like that, but I just happen to really like this set of mods. No strings attached, which allows you to have hookups and stuff without any kind of romantic interaction with Sims or romantic bar. There's also Road to Romance, Psychic Sims, which I rarely play with these last 2, but I do just keep them in my game because I find them to be kind of fun. So Religions gives your Sims religions, and then Psychic Sims is like a psychic type of mod. So I'm gonna show off all of these really quick. I'm gonna be honest. Lumpino's download things, like his pages, it looks scary. I get you. Or they. Sorry, I don't know Lumpino's gender, so I shouldn't assume. But yeah, this is intimidating. The download links are all the way at the bottom. And if you go through here, you can kind of pick and choose, similar to MCC, what you want and what you don't want in RPO. So this is the relationship and pregnancy overhaul mod. So if you want, let's say, cheating and infidelity expansion, but you maybe don't want teen pregnancy, you can just delete the teen pregnancy module. You don't have to get it. Or maybe you don't want who transmitted diseases. You can delete it. So this is really customizable for the kind of things that you want in your game. I have all of them because I think it's just so fun. And then LGBTQIA mod, which just sets up some interesting stuff. You can kind of have stories where Sims find out later in their life that actually they've been gay. There can be kind of crises about this and stuff like that. I play with this mod just because I love the drama and I think it's just kind of fun. So this is a drama mod for me. I have no issue with the way that queer Sims are currently represented in the game personally, but I find that this adds a level of like, I can do more storylines with it, more dramatic. I don't know that I would necessarily want this in the base game. Like, I wouldn't want EA to add this type of thing to the game because it does make it very restrictive and like you can't just flirt with any sim. Like, I like that you have this option in The Sims 4 to kind of be with whatever sim you want, because all the sims are kind of pansexual open book, basically. So this definitely is for like a specific type of gameplay, but I do enjoy this type of gameplay. And I'm gonna kind of skip through most of these because I kind of already went over them. The religion mod and the psychic mod. I, like I said, rarely play with this, but when you do play with it, it's just a fun way to kind of round out some culture in your sims, you know, their background, and just kind of play with maybe something that you wouldn't play with all the time. So in that way, I kind of like to play with these mods, but like I said, do not do it a whole lot. And to kind of show you lumpinous mods kind of like in action, I will go and kind of play around in my saves. So we got relationships, family, and pregnancy. So this is lumpino. And if you click on it, you can do all kinds of stuff in here. So, you know, she could visit the doctor to start birth control. She could be sterilized. She could, you know, decide to be celibate, decide not to interact romantically with certain people. She could, I don't know, go and get a surrogate. She could become a surrogate. This mod really kind of becomes super evident when you get into like gameplay. Like, the gameplay for this mod is so fun. So for example, the Sim and Jada Rosa, like, they both think that each other are strong-minded. Usually these two are different, by the way. It's not just like the same first impression for both of them. Usually, like, Devin could have a positive one about Jade, and Jade could have a negative one about Devin. And like I said, there's all kinds of stuff that those mods can do, but I'm not going to be doing real gameplay in this video. So like I said, if you do want to see a more in-depth, I will link the video. But next we're going to move on to SimCity loans. This just allows you to take loans, and that's literally it. And then you get this little packet in your inventory that you can make payments on, and if you don't make payments, the game yells at you, and that's about it. This is the page for the loans mod. So Mazoriyuki, I think I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. This is where you will go to download that, and you get all these different kinds of options that you can kind of play around with. You also have shorter university degrees. It's as said, and it is by period, and you can just choose which one you want. Right now, I have 4 credits in my game. I normally play with a little bit higher, more like 6 or maybe even 8. 12 is the default if you don't know, so it takes your Sims like forever to get through university. But I just find this to be a little bit more realistic with, you know, pacing and time passing in the game. Okay, I paused for a second because I realized I forgot these 3 mods in my gameplay section. So we got the language barriers mod, the home regions mod, and the Sim Nations travel mod. These are kind of also 3 peas in a pod to me, all made by different people, but I think these mods just go super well together. So first we have the language barriers mod, which is kind of similar to the religions and the psychic mod, where it's a specific type of gameplay that I don't really love to play with in my game all the time, but on occasion it can be really fun. It adds a lot of culture to your sim and kind of who they are in a more kind of thorough way. And this mod is made by Frank, and you can download it here, and it just gives all your sims all these different kinds of languages that are, you know, canon to the Sims 4 universe almost, where it's very Maxis match, if that makes any sense to say about a mod. So most Sims speak Simlish, you know, the default Sim language, quote unquote, and there's a bunch of other ones kind of based on all these different areas. So if you watched my last video where I did some gameplay, we played around a lot with this mod because they're staying in Windenburg, and so a lot of the Sims were kind of learning Windenburgish. I will say this mod isn't for everyone. It makes communicating over the language barrier really annoying, which feels harsh to say because it's just like realistic to real life that it would be much more difficult in order to communicate with someone if you have like a really big language barrier. So just keep that in mind, that this isn't like a very easy mod to have in your game. It's like definitely for a specific type of gameplay, I feel. On the other hand, this next mod, Home Regions, is like a staple that I think needs to be in everyone's game. It basically means that your sim is just kind of more bound to their home world, and so you don't get like Bella Goth wandering around Tartosa randomly for no reason. So I really like this mod because I just like realism, realistic travel. I don't love it when a, mermaid sim is in Willow Creek. It just takes me out of it. So this mod is a game changer for me, and I'm absolutely going to be putting this with my save file because otherwise you're just going to have, Sims everywhere, and instead it makes it so that only Sims that you actually would know and interact with show up when you go out. And you can kind of edit this all. So if there's Sims that you want to be kind of interchangeable with other worlds, you can totally set it that way. And so I think that this mod is super helpful for that. Last, we have SimNation Travel. Once again, this is for a specific type of gameplay. Here is the page for it. And yeah, this makes traveling a little bit more realistic and therefore also a little bit more difficult. So once again, for a specific type of gameplay, probably not for just like every simmer out there, because you have to get a passport. If you want to go to a different country, you have to get plane tickets. You have to kind of plan this whole trip. So not for everyone, and obviously also not always in my game 100% of the time. It's currently not in my game right now, but for a specific realistic type of gameplay, I use this mod frequently for that. So finally, I move on to quality of life mods. This is a lot of new stuff that is new to my mods folder that has greatly improved my quality of life, and a lot of it is thanks to you guys who have told me about it. So we have a steady sit, and this mod basically just means that your Sims actually sit down. So you can steady sit them in a chair, and they will literally sit there until they're literally about to pee their pants or literally about to like pass out. You don't have to worry about them doing like the musical chairs thing as bad. I find this mod to be super useful, and I use it like all the time now, and I cannot believe this wasn't in my game until very recently, because this is just super duper useful. Choose classmates or high school more classmates. This one works like somewhat. I find that I have trouble making a choose your classmates mod work. There's a couple of different ones out there, and I find that they just break a lot of the time. So sometimes this one works, sometimes this one doesn't, but this mod theoretically allows you to not only choose your classmates, it allows you to choose more classmates, and you can assign teachers as well. So if you want to tell a story and have it just be more realistic, you can more safely assign all these Sims, and it will actually do it, hopefully. Like I said, this mod works some of the time and doesn't work other times, and I find that that is just a consistent thing with these choose your classmate mods. Long distance learning, this mod allows you to do university stuff if you are not on a university campus. So this is super important if you have a sim that you want to be able to attend to guest lectures, tutor, office hours, sit in on skill classes. It's just like a little thingy that goes on your wall, and you can click and use it, and it's the same as a rabbit hole. Super important for me because I'm about to make a university town as soon as I'm done with Willow Creek. I think that's what I'm going to do next. So yeah, this mod is going to be super useful for my save file, but also just for my gameplay. More columns and casts. You guys have been yelling at me to get this mod forever. I've finally done it, and I've downloaded more columns in Create a Sim. So I downloaded the 4 columns one. We're going to see how it goes for me, if this is actually a quality of life improvement. To me, it seems a little bit like you just have so much to look at, and maybe it would be harder to see, but everyone tells me that it will make my cast experience better, and I have a really hard time with casts. So all this talking, my lips are so chapped. This video is just so much explaining and like nothing fun. I'm so sorry. For posing and photo mods, so stuff that I really use very heavily in my save file. So I use ISO Love Photos, aka the full control camera, whenever I'm taking photos in my save file. This is like the save file mod for me. You get more photo options. They're perfect every time. You get unlock all the sizes. It's always the highest quality. There's never gnomes. There's never blur. So you never have to worry about like any of that. And so yeah, this mod, quality of life, but also like save file important mod. Along the same lines, we have Andrew Pose Player and Teleport Any Sim. I listed it twice here, but it's the same link. So with Andrew Pose Player, it's gonna show me an ad. Don't click download on any of the random things that say download on any of these pages, by the way. Please like practice computer literacy and just be smart about which download links you are hitting. The correct one is like down here. I know it can be really confusing when there's like a million things that say download on the screen. Please be careful. And if you are not sure how to navigate it, maybe don't download mods, okay? I also should probably have put this disclaimer at the beginning, but do not ask me to troubleshoot any of the mods. I will not be a troubleshooter. But yeah, so this top one is Pose Player. This allows you to pose Sims in your game. So with Andrew Pose Player, you get Pose by Pack and Pose by Name. If you know the name of the pose, you can type it directly in. I never do that. So I do Pose by Pack, and I kind of go the long route, and I scroll through, and I find whatever pose that I want her to do. And so let's say I want her to do here. This is just some like poses, so I could do an all-in-one, and then she'll just start posing, like literally. Boom, posing, girl boss. And I can take out the camera and I can take photos of her or the save file. That's normally what I kind of do. But yeah, so this mod, super helpful if you're doing storytelling, if you post photos of your Sims anywhere, if you're a YouTuber who's doing thumbnails, literally for so many things. If you just want some cute photos of your Sims and you are just like a normal player, you know, all kinds of uses for Andrew Pose Player. It's one of like the long time essential mods. Alongside Andrew Pose Player is another ad. Teleport any sim. So this allows you to place one of these little statue guys and teleport a sim there. If you watch my videos, you've probably also seen me do this a bunch of times. So if I go back over into gameplay and I go into build mode, I can get a sim teleporter. So usually I just search for it. I find that's the quickest way. There's going to be a little bit of lag here. Sim teleporter destination. I will just place it, and that means that you can place your sim like wherever you want. And combined with tool, this can be really powerful. So if I wanted to make my sim pose somewhere that's not on the lot, I can also pull up tool and I can move this thing to like basically wherever is clickable. So that's not a clickable portion of the world, but like, you know, over in this park is. So if I wanted her to be posing right there, I could move it there. I could rotate it however much, I don't know, like 80 degrees maybe. Wrong way. Okay, let's rotate 180 degrees, and she should be facing the right way that time. And then I go into live mode, kind of teleport her there, and it's going to teleport her directly there. And so if you need to teleport a lot of Sims into one exact location so that they can all pose together, this is what that's like mainly used for. With one Sim, you can kind of like get her to just walk wherever and then do a pose, and it's pretty doable. But if you have 4 Sims that you need to do a group pose, teleport any Sim as your friend. And you might be asking where I get my poses. None of these come with any of the poses built in. You've probably seen me go to this website on my channel before, but the Sims 4-poses, this is where I download all of my poses, is on this website here. This is a Tumblr page. Tons of poses in a bunch of different categories. You can find like anything. You know, say I wanted a specific action like mourning, painting, phone call, or if I wanted specifically something to do with like a breakup, I could literally Control F, type in breakup, and they have an entire category of like breakup poses. And then when you click in, it's going to show you a bunch of creators. They just reblog all kinds of creators on here, so you can just scroll through and find something that kind of suits your sim situation. Next is letter/lore. This is where I can kind of just do more lore stuff. So photographic memory kind of allows you to make like prints out of photos, if that makes sense, and it makes it almost like a custom content object in the game. But you can make photos into like a calendar or like put them on a journal or kind of anything like that. So I use this. It also allows you to add photo descriptions, so you can write a little bit more about the photo itself. So I find that this is super useful for lore. If you want to do historical photos and you want to do a little info dump about, you know, this photo was taken in 1920 and this was the original lumber mill before it burned down in 1942 and was rebuilt in brick. Like if you want to write that in there, you totally can with photographic memory. So I use this mod for lore stuff like all the time. Kind of to go along with that is Ink for Yourself, which is just like a journal. And you can put the photos in the journal too, and you can add all these different kind of little entries, and you can put various stuff in so that you can kind of read through it. I did a journal entry series when I did my star-crossed lovers lore. So if you kind of want to see that mod in action, that video has me kind of using this mod to create lore in that way. Next is lighting, which is less save file stuff and more just aesthetics, but I figured I'd include it here because I get so many questions about this. So for the cast and portrait lighting, so when I have a little sim in this corner and you guys ask me like, how do you make the portraits look like that? It looks like The Sims 3 or it looks like The Sims 2 or whatever you guys tell me. It's because of the cast lights. So the Sims lighting in this corner is going to be the same lighting as is the override that you have in cast. So if you have base game, it's going to be base game lighting. If you have a mod that changes it, it's going to be whatever that mod. It's kind of like an accidental thing that it works that way, but I find that it's really useful just to make things look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So I use S for Zinda Cast Light 4. I frequently missay it as S for Linda, so if I've told you that it's S for Linda's Cast Light 4, I'm sorry. I don't know why. In my brain, it doesn't stick that it's Zinda with a Z. I don't know. Issue with this cast light that I have in my game is you can no longer download it because the creator deleted their stuff. So here is the Google Drive file for it. I did not upload this. I found this, somebody asked where they could find it, and someone linked it on Reddit, I think. So I have not downloaded this package. It's just a Google Drive package. Please download at your own risk, much like everything here. Just so everyone is on the same page about that. I am sorry the original creator took it down. Sim lighting, we kind of have two in here. We have Lumia's Eye Shine Remover and No Glow. So this makes your Sims lighting more realistic with the kind of environment around them. So EA, I don't know why, but they do this ugly little glowy thing with Sims eyes, and it's so icky. Why? Like, I think it's like meant to make them more realistic, but it just makes them look weird. It basically just takes it away so your Sim looks normal. Kind of to go with that is No Glow by Lumia as well, and this just makes your Sims more immersed with the environment around them. So this isn't about the lighting of the room, although you might be noticing that the lighting in each of these rooms on this preview is different. It's about the lighting of the sim itself. So Maxis will do this kind of blue lighting on the sim that kind of has this like halo effect around them. I presume to make them stick out from the background so it's easier for like accessibility and gameplay reasons. But aesthetically, I just like the sim to look more immersed with the environment, and that is what this mod does. So the download is all the way down here, right there. So this is the button you wanted to click, not all this other nonsense on the page. For the rooms and the environment, you're going to want to get realistic indoor lighting, Lumia No Blue Darker. That's what I have in my game. So this makes it so that instead of this like really blue lighting that Maxis does, it's just like actually realistically toned. I have the darker one, so things in my game lean a little bit darker. I used to have the darkest one, but for my videos, I wanted it to be just like slightly lighter so you guys could see stuff better. Once again, I think the blue lighting is for like accessibility and just ease of being able to see stuff. If you want stuff to be as light as the game currently is, No Blue gameplay is going to be your friend. I play with darker, and you could also optionally play with darkest. And last but not least is outdoor lighting, and I use Sunblind, and this is the one that like everybody uses. This honestly is not my favorite of Softer Haze's lighting mods, but it's the most updated one, so this is the one that I use. It's just a realistic lighting overhaul. It gets rid of the like bright blue shadows everywhere. It makes things just look really pretty. So if I'm in the game, you're going to notice that my lighting is really realistic. It's not that blue. It's very just true to how gray and normal light looks, and the inside is kind of the same way. This is the Lumia mods that I was talking about. Same with the sim that I loaded in as. This is just a random girl. Yeah, she blends in with her environment. She doesn't stand out, she doesn't glow, she doesn't look all weird, she has no eye shine, etc, etc, etc. Whereas if I took us to a different world where I don't have Sunblind installed, like I'm pretty sure I don't have Sunblind installed for any of the newest worlds, you're going to notice how blue everything is in Nordhaven, for example. So let me log in to this person's house. So you'll notice that when I log in here, everything is bright blue looking, and yeah, it just doesn't look as realistic. It's got these like deep purple shadows almost. So yeah, it's kind of up to you and what you like, but that is the one that I use. Also, here is the native language mod at work. The thing to note about this mod is it's called a mod. It is not put in your mods folder. It doesn't act like a normal mod. You have to put it to replace game files. So please, 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 please just pay attention to the download instructions for this one. If you've never downloaded a lighting mod before, it's just like a little bit different than how everything else is. I think it's pretty easy, but sometimes some people in the Sims community can really struggle. Not to make a dig at you guys, but like, we really need to get on top of some computer literacy for some of you. But yeah, it's a comprehensive overhaul of everything that's kind of in my game. If I think of more stuff or I add more stuff to my game, I will continue to add it to this resources tab as I remember. I hope that this video was helpful for everybody that needed some guidance with this stuff. I kind of hate making mod videos just because it feels like it's a lot of me blabbing and not a lot of me doing anything. If you want to see me go more in detail on a lot of these mods, about a year ago now, I did make a video where I kind of went into depth and showed off a lot of these mods in a more detailed way, and I'll link that on the end screen now. And I also have some gameplay videos where you can kind of see a lot of these mods more in action, so that will also be on the screen now. And as always, thank you for watching.